I'm Alex McCord, and welcome to The Real Deal on thestir.com. Big day today. First, we have episode 3 of season 6 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey with some trash talk. We have episode 15 of season 9 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. This is part 2 of Thailand. Episode 6 of Botched with an interesting twist, and also another new episode of Kim Zolciak's Don't Be Tardy. There's a common theme from last night's TV of engineered reality versus actual reality and how the two fit together. I found it fascinating. But I also want to take a moment before we dig in to tell you, if you would like to skip directly to coverage of a particular show and not listen to the others, please go to my playlists on my YouTube channel, where you can skip to all Kardashians, all Housewives, all Botched, whatever you want. Now, let's dig in. First up, New Jersey. The more I see of this season, the more I realize Amber Marchese came in with a plan. We may all hate her, but she is building herself some job security as the new Danielle Staub. Oh yes. And she's got help from producers that I think she may not have even anticipated. Where's the proof? Let's go. In episode 1, we saw Amber go after Melissa Gorga for abandoning her friendship, in addition to sniping at the new twins for messing up her house and continuing to beat everyone over the head with her survival of cancer. Now, don't get me wrong, it's wonderful and miraculous that she survived, as is anyone who beats cancer. But you should not use that survival as a weapon against other women. Not cool. Now, in episode 3, Amber is casting her net even wider. This week, she starts a rumor about Nicole Napolitano. It seems that Nicole not only does not know how to behave at house parties, she also steals husbands. Who knew? While Amber dishes this up to Melissa, it is intercut with confessional interviews of Amber talking about how she seeks out friends because they have good hearts. Putting this footage together makes Amber look two-faced and hypocritical because she is simultaneously spreading malicious gossip. Now, the interview and the footage could have been filmed months apart and have nothing to do with one another, but when you edit them together side by side, it makes Amber look crazy. Melissa then does what any cast member would do, or should do. Since Amber brought this up on camera, it's become part of the storyline. So Melissa goes to Nicole and her twin and tells them. Now, in real life, you could say this is repeating nasty gossip. But when you're a housewife, this is giving a cast member a helpful heads up that a story point is now on the deck that they don't like. What happened next was a really clever reaction scene. Nicole and Teresa stormed out, put $10 worth of gas in their car, and rolled up in front of Amber's house. Except, I don't think there were cameras inside Amber's house. So they can't film a big confrontation because Amber's not on that night. So what do? Well, they have a conversation in the car and decide not to go in because it's not the right time. Pop in some evergreen footage that you've got to have laying around somewhere of Amber's kids going to bed, and boom, it's a perfect scene. Now, did it feel engineered? Yes, it did, but I loved it. I really liked it anyway because it was so juicy. And I have to say, the twins, finally, are growing on me. Throughout the episode, Amber looks over the top, from being heavy-handed with her children to serving up transparently fake drama with Teresa Giudice and Melissa. But she's not the only drama queen in that family, and my biggest question is whether the melodrama will spill over into the Marchese's real life, again, a la Danielle Staub. Whom do I mean? Amber's husband, Jim. Whew. Okay. Jim refuses to have anything to do with the Giudices. We see in next week's teaser that Jim gets snarky with Joe Gorga, telling Joe that he works with, quote unquote, the same attorney general who is prosecuting your brother-in-law. That creates drama amongst the cast, but also it may mean trouble for the Marcheses in real life. The Attorney General's office released a statement that no one involved with the Giudice prosecution has any idea who Jim Marchese is. Further, it's the U.S. Attorney's Office handling the prosecution, not the Attorney General. They may sound similar, but they're very different in real life. Oops, it sounds like someone's running his mouth off. For those of you interested in the backstory, Marchese is already a thorn in the government's side. He was a whistleblower in a major fraud case involving a cancer drug and Medicare, and was set to receive a percentage of the government's settlement as a result of his whistleblowing. But double oops, in the course of the investigation, it became public that Marchese allegedly, or orchestrated the scheme and then blew the whistle on it. Oops, you're not supposed to do that. In the end, the government did give him some money anyway, so it's a gray area. Nobody knows really what happened. But all of this makes it kind of hilarious that Jim would refuse to be in a room with the Giudices. With all of these gotcha moments, production is crucifying these two, and the real world is reacting. For all of these reasons, I think Amber better work as hard and fast as she can, because she may wind up being the breadwinner. I really don't know why they signed up to be on reality TV, but now that they are on it, Jim may find it difficult to continue working if he gets the same editing treatment he's getting now, and Amber may have come in with a plan to be a big grand diva, but I bet she never understood how the producers could help her out and twist things. Now, let's move from talking trash to actual trash, although to be fair, it's confidential documents, not dirty diapers and dinner scraps. Last week, we saw Melissa and Joe Gorga talking about building their dream home, or rather, their newest dream home. There was a flurry of gossip online about whether the Gorgas could afford to be building a grand new home, and this week we see the next chapter in the saga. Joe announces that he has invested millions in a document obliterating truck, so they cannot build their new home anytime soon. Now, I could see this venture doing very well, actually. It goes beyond shredding, and since most businesses don't have incinerators anymore, this could work out. But the stakes are high. If mobile document destruction does not work out, the Gorgas could lose everything. And I will admit, watching this, I wondered whether the whole garbage truck storyline is an excuse to cover why the Gorgas haven't built their house yet. The last point that really grabbed me during New Jersey last night was the obviously adversarial relationship between Dina Manzo and her producers. Last night, for the second time this season, Dina refused to answer an interview question. We hear a disembodied producer's voice with subtitles, asking if Dina feels closer to Teresa Giudice than her own sisters. Dina responds, she's not going there. I actually love it that they showed this. You can see how story is made with leading questions in interviews, and even if they don't get the answer they want, they can still use it and make the point anyway. By showing that Q&A, plus B-roll of Dina and Teresa looking close, add in some flashback footage of Caroline looking unhappy, the story the producers want is told even without Dina answering the question. Moving on, Kim Zolciak's Don't Be Tardy aired its episode 3 last night. Now, this was a temporary addition to the schedule. Episode 4 will air this Thursday as usual. I'm thinking that since the Below Deck preview was on, they wanted a strong lead-in, and currently, among 30-minute shows, Kim is going to be their biggest hit. So that all makes sense from a network perspective. So, Kim's episodes seemed a little too good to be true, but it begs the question. Do you mind your reality a little set up and engineered as long as it feels really good? Kim wants Kroy to get a vasectomy, and I don't blame her for a red-hot second. Prior to last night in the storyline, Kroy had been dragging his feet about going snippy, so Kim had a pregnancy scare, which convinced him. Now, do you think Kim made that up as a wife to manipulate her husband? Or was Kroy always on board and they decided to tease out the drama for the show? Did the producers sit down and say, well, he can't just say, sure, I'll do it. We have to make it dramatic. Let's have a pregnancy scare. Certainly, Kim would not be the first wife to threaten pregnancy in order to hustle along a vasectomy. It does happen in real life. So which do you think it was? And do you even care? For me, the series is such an interesting mix because you have storylines that feel engineered, such as the vasectomy and Kim's daughter being in love with the pool boy. But all of that engineering is intercut with conversation that feels unrehearsed, real, unforced, comfortable, fun, and enjoyable. The banter between Kim and Kroy is great, as well as between Kim and her best friend. It all feels very real. Also, we have the nanny/nursemaid Lana as comic relief. Last week, she broke the toddler's leg. This week, she's redeeming herself by running around the house, taking care of Kim and Kroy, chopping up onion, putting it on Kroy's sore spots. Ooh, I think her job is safe now. But overall, do we care if it's a little engineered as long as it makes us feel good? Next example, let's move over to E for the rest of the evening. We've got the Kardashians still in Thailand and another episode of Botched. So, in Thailand, the Kardashians want to go on a scavenger hunt. And what are they hunting? Kylie and Kendall. Keeping up with the theme of last night's television, Kylie and Kendall running away seemed completely engineered and set up to me. They were angry at their parents for arguing, so they ran away for the day, but they texted pictures of all the locations they were going to, leading everyone to eventually find them. I'm sorry, I don't buy it for a second. First of all, I don't think that Kim and Kroy would be capable, with a K, of finding their sisters without major production help. You've got Kris Jenner bursting into shops, yelling at locals in English. I don't think they're necessarily going to understand her. You've got people calling each other on cell phones, and you hear an American ringtone. I don't think that they're technologically savvy enough to have changed their voice settings to call somewhere in the world and hear the American ringing. I just don't buy it. But the setup scenes were interspersed with sisters bickering and Brody pranking Kim by jumping into her bed naked, though the prank was on Brody in the end as the camera crew kept on filming, forcing Brody to find a way to get out of the bed without flashing the entire world. That was funny. So there were some good and genuine moments, but the obviously set up stuff overshadowed the good for me on the Kardashians. Final show from last night, Botched, and at the moment, the drama has moved from television to Twitter. It had to happen at some point. Statistically, not all plastic surgery is successful, no matter how good the doctors are. Also, when dealing with botched operations, the patients are emotional and come in with high, even desperate, perhaps unrealistic expectations, which is to be expected, I suppose, given the surgical screw-ups they've lived with. Take that all together, and it was only a matter of time before Dr. Nassif and Dr. Dubrow had a patient unhappy with their results. Mike, last night's implant patient, did not have the end scene viewers have come to expect, where the patient reveals their results to friends and family and everyone cheers. I was confused, and I wondered whether I missed something, as did this viewer on Twitter. I'm guessing that Mike refused to film a happy ending scene because last night when the episode aired, he blew up Twitter, complaining that Doctors Terry and Paul made his head scar worse, not better. Here are a few of his tweets. Dr. Nassif did not respond directly, but tweeted out the following around the same time. I found myself wondering why the producers chose to air Mike's footage as part of the show. Then I thought, well, perhaps the doctors stand behind their work and Mike should not have been unhappy. Well, whether he should or should not have been dissatisfied, Mike is certainly making a lot of noise about it. Is that good for business? The show? Both? Neither? Episode 6 was the last we'll see of Botched until August 10th, as they skip next week in order to make room for the premiere of the hashtag Rich Kids of Beverly Hills. And by the way, are you watching that? Should I watch it? Let me know what you thought in the comments. For now, I am Alex McCord. You're watching The Real Deal on thestir.com. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you tomorrow.